Star Trek V made a mockery of an iconic TOS character. Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, is a movie with big ambitions, a strange sense of humor, and a legacy that remains divisive even among longtime Trek fans. But while opinions differ on its philosophical themes or its infamous production troubles, one criticism has remained consistent. The film unintentionally turns one of Star Trek's most iconic characters into a punchline. In its attempt to blend emotional depth with lighthearted comedy, Star Trek V ends up making a mockery of Spock in ways no other original series story ever dared. What makes this especially frustrating is that Spock had already undergone one of the richest character arcs in the franchise, coming back from death in Star Trek III, rediscovering himself in Star Trek IV, and reuniting fully with Kirk and McCoy set him on a trajectory toward renewed emotional balance. Instead, The Final Frontier veers sharply away from that progress, presenting Spock less as the wise, introspective Vulcan and more as the awkward straight man in a string of comedic bits. The most infamous moment is his jetpack rescue during Kirk and McCoy's Yosemite climb. Instead of showcasing Spock's calm competence, the scene frames him as oblivious to human nuance, floating serenely beside Kirk, lecturing him about gravity, while Kirk clings for his life. The intention is clearly humor, but the result is a flattening of Spock's complexity. He's no longer the thoughtful counterpoint to Kirk's impulsiveness. He's the guy who doesn't get the joke, inserted into a slapstick sequence that undermines the dignity Leonard Nimoy always brought to the role. This trend continues throughout the film, from his awkward reunion with his half-brother Sibuk to his uncomfortable role in the campfire scenes. Spock is written as though the writers forgot the emotional sophistication he had gained since the motion picture. His reluctance to sing around the campfire is meant to be endearing, but it instead reinforces the idea that Spock is socially out of step in a way that feels exaggerated compared to earlier portrayals. Classic Spock avoided emotional displays, but he was never the butt of the joke. Here, he often is. The mishandling deepens when Sibuk attempts to unveil Spock's hidden pain. This should have been a powerful moment. Spock's internal struggle between logic and emotion is one of the defining themes of Star Trek. Instead, the film rushes through it, treating Spock's emotional core like a plot checkpoint. His refusal of Sibuk's offer is a highlight, one of the few scenes where the real Spock fully emerges, but the moment is immediately overshadowed by the movie's chaotic pacing and tonal inconsistency. Even Spock's final confrontation with God feels strangely off. Rather than showcasing his analytical brilliance or philosophical depth, Spock is relegated to asking obvious questions and reacting with wide-eyed confusion as the plot unfolds around him. Kirk gets the bravado, McCoy gets the emotional crisis, and Spock gets comic relief and exposition. To be fair, The Final Frontier doesn't intend to disrespect Spock. The movie clearly loves its central trio, and you can feel that affection throughout. But intention and execution are very different things, and in trying to lighten the tone after the success of Star Trek IV, the film sacrificed the nuanced balance that made Spock compelling in the first place. Humor isn't the problem. Star Trek has always used